Sunday the 6th of April today, so the traffic isn't quite as bad as normal as a normal working day. We still get a fair amount coming along that. This is just to give a sort of a, well, perhaps we should say historical view of things, so that when they're eventually gone, we'll still have a record of what was here. This is quite a good specimen of silver birch here. I don't really know the fate of that. When the time comes. Maggie. She's a BT type goat, bred here. She's 3 years old. You're watching the others outside gambling around. One of the lads that comes up to help, he was here about 6:45 this morning, and he'll be at school up here in September. She's one of the farm cats that help keep the mice down. Large white piglet, they which were born last Thursday, so they're just over a week old now. Lambs with their mothers, they're between 3 and 4 weeks old now. We had 23 lambs this year, and there's 20 out in the field with their mums. They like to get along the hedge bank and in the shade. I suppose they're probably a bit warm with the old woolly coats on. They were taken off their mums to being artificially reared on this bucket system, which is working very well, and they're growing well. About a month's time they'll be put out with the other sheep when they're eating enough solid food. 2 British Alpine goatlings which were bred last year. Sadly, her mother was put down on the 23rd of March this year. She developed laminitis, which is a very painful foot complaint, and she had difficulty in standing and walking, so it was the kindest thing to put her down. Sow and piglets again. As you can see, they're at the milk bar. There is a little runt on the left hand side. This often happens, you often get 1 or 2 that are rather small and don't do so well as the others. There's a goose and a gander. They must be at least 12 years old. The goose doesn't lay eggs anymore now, I think she's got past it, but they make quite good watchdogs. Flowering cherry, and at the moment it is massive bloom. There is another one that will come out a bit later on, and that's a semi-double, but this one makes a real picture. Clearing up some of the weeds around the fence. The goats have just been milked, and they like to come out and eat the fresh spring grass. It also helps to push their milk yield up. On the right is Maggie. Maggie is due to kid middle of May. She's walking around looking quite heavy at the moment. There's Rosie. In the background is Cleo. She's the oldest goat we have on the place. She'll be 11 years old in July. She hasn't kidded for 3 years, and she is still milking, and she has come up to about 5 pints a day now, which is pretty good for a goat that hasn't kidded for some time. There's Maggie on her knees with her head through the other side. They say the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. This pond supports a large variety of wildlife. Dragonflies, fish in there, newts, frogs, various other forms of pond life. The weather vane was made a year or so back by a friend of mine. Completely handmade. It's Friday the 16th of June, and here we are shearing the sheep. There are 2 students from Little College doing the shearing. There's another guy that's doing his feet. In the background are some Year 10 pupils that have come over to see this being done. They have been doing sheep as some of their project work. These are some of the ewes that have already been sheared. As you can see, they look quite different once they get their coats off. These in the pen here to the right have yet to be sheared. They're making a lot of noise because the lambs have been taken away from them and they're in the shed. Here we have some young spectators. The one on the right there, my granddaughter, and her two cousins. This sheep, or ewe, is the largest ewe that we have here. She's a Suffolk Cross. When we weighed her last year, she weighed 230 pounds, or, well, I'm not going to convert it to kilos. When this one was being sheared, I mistook it for a ewe. I couldn't see, but it's still got all this fleece on. But obviously, as you can see from this, it is the ram. It's quite a large, good fleece off of him. And it's now being prepared, ready to go into the wool sack that's in the background. Psycho. This is the first BA that we bought. She's 8 years old now, and she's milking quite well, and she's looking quite well. Here's Midge with one of her kids. They're almost 3 months now and soon be old enough to be weaned off. This is the other kid. He's exercising himself and sharpening his horns up on the fence at the same time. Psycho's in the background. She's the great grandmother of these two kids. There's Midge come over to see what's going on. And the other kid. Here's the sheep, the ewes and the lambs. As you can see, the lambs have grown considerably since I took the last bit of film back in April. It is now the 19th of June today. The ewes look very different from what they did a few days ago when they all had their fleece on. They're much cooler now and much happier now the fleece is off of them. Especially as they say we're going to get a spell of warmer weather. Some of the lambs are almost ready to be sold now. I'll try and get them weighed this week, but there must be one or two that are sort of weighing between 35 and 40 kilos. This is Cleo. She's a grand old lady, and in a couple of weeks time she'll be 11 years old. She's the oldest goat we've got here, and she still gives plenty of milk. Rosie's in the next pen rubbing her nose against the gate. Oh, she's sticking her nose through now, see what's going on. This is Louise milking Maggie. She's only just started to do it, but she's getting on quite well with it. This is one of the piglets that was on the first part of the video. They're grown quite big now, they're nearly 3 months old. We're running these two up for pork because we didn't have any customers for them, so we've run them on ourselves. They're doing quite well, they'll probably be with us for another couple of weeks. All we milk, wipe the udder over. They're not usually dirty anyway, but we just wipe it over. All we milk, it's got to be clean. Strip cup again. Take a few squirts out each side. Because in between milkings, bacteria can work its way up into the teeth. The first few drops of milk you probably have, if there is any bacteria, or the bacteria in. Here's the milking her. Cleo's a good old milker. She hasn't fed it for 3 years. But she's still pumping out quite a fair amount of milk. After we've milked, the milk is filtered and it's cooled in the dairy. And after it's cooled, it's carved up and sold. Right, she's more or less finished. It's finished. Move the milk out of the way. Perhaps somebody can take the milk into the dairy for me, please. Thank you. Wipe her over again, and then we undo them and they walk off outside usually. This is the dairy area where the milk is bought for processing, cooling, filtering, etc. Bottling up. Some of the utensils are hanging up there on the wall. Sinks on the left hand side there where we do all the washing up. It's a scale for weighing the milk, and we record the milk daily. After the long dry summer that we've had, the grass has grown considerably over the last 5 or 6 weeks. It is almost as long, well, it is as long as it is in the springtime. There's not so much goodness in it this time of the year, but the sheep are far happier being out on it now than when they were before. It was very, very sparse and very, very dry for a few weeks. One of the farm cats enjoying the afternoon sunshine. Well, it's about 20 to 7 on a Monday morning. As you can see, it's a spectacular sunrise. Really good to see some of these sunrises. It's 25th of October and sheep have all just come up because they think they're going to get fed. They've had the ram out there for a fortnight now. You can just about see him. He's got the harness on. And the one with the black face just lying down. They've all been tucked. Tupping is the expression used for when the ram has mated the ewes. Some of them have got a number on them, which makes them much easier to identify. The lambs will be born towards the end of March. They carry for 5 months, for 147 days. You can see the numbers on their backs more clearly now as the light's the right way. There's plenty of grass out here for them. The 2 goats in here, Maisie and Marie, both waiting for their afternoon feed. As we put the clocks back, it's made everything obviously an hour later for them, which they're not too happy about. This is Fluffy, our chief mouser. She's been here 7 or 8 years now. I think it's probably the longest cat we've had on the place. Unfortunately, a lot of the younger ones that we've had got out into the road and got knocked over. But she doesn't seem to stray too far, this one. Turkeys. Christmas trade. These are bought in late July, day-old chicks and poults. They're reared under an infrared lamp for 4 to 5 weeks. After that, they're transferred into these pens where they stay until there's time for them to be killed. Most of the birds in this pen are larger. They're stags, what are known as stags, which are the male birds. They got little wattle things up their head and wattles in their neck. And as they get older, they grow a tuft of bristle which resembles what we say is a shaving brush on their neck. As they mature, they develop this bristle of tough black hairs. Some of these birds probably weigh about 12, 13 pound already. So by the time Christmas comes, we've got another sort of 6 weeks or so. Yeah, 6 to 7 weeks. They weigh over 20 pounds, some of them. One of the farm cats enjoying the autumn sunshine. This year, October, is probably going to be one of the warmest on record. We've had some very warm days with quite a lot of sunshine. Easter Sunday, 1987. Lambs have all been born, and most of them just over a fortnight old. A few of them are just over a week, and there's 2 that are over a month. Probably be the last lambing that takes place here, as unfortunately it's all going to close down. Trees are all coming into leaf now. The hawthorn's all bright green. The usual sort of thing in the spring. A month or so's time, it'll be all in flower. Unfortunately, it looks as though all this land here is set to become building land within the next few years. It's fairly quiet this morning, being a Sunday. There's not so much traffic around, fortunately. It'd be a great shame to see another green area like this go under bricks and mortar, but this looks as though what it is. It's going to happen. It's all money, money, money. The cherry tree's just starting to come out in bloom again. Makes a lovely show at this time of the year. This is a fairly old hawthorn hedge. On an old bank, sheep like to lie underneath here in the summertime. It's cool and shady for them. This is the boundary hedge adjoining the A176, main road to Basildon. Litter, all stuck in the fence. Shows you what a dirty country we are, or dirty people, dirty race we are. The white flowers in the bushes are the slow bushes or blackthorns. These houses here are recent, fairly recent places. They were built on land that was allotments. Wish I had an allotment on them some years ago. It's another sign of the spread of urban development. I'm just painting this round for historical reasons perhaps, but just to show what it was all like before building took place on it. A few lambs lying here sunbathing on the bales. I suppose these old buildings look rather ramshackle. They're in a bit of a poor state of repair, but they serve their purpose. Lambs used give birth to lambs in there, and it's shelter for them when it rains. Typical farmyard really. This is the old pigsty. We haven't had any pigs for a year or so now. We've kept turkeys in there to fatten up. Unfortunately it's a bit tatty. In the background is the barn, which is grade 2 listed. Foreground, other bits and pieces, another old shed. Nice patch of stinging nettles there, but it'll be good for the butterflies later on. That was the chicken shed there, and the goat shed. Pan round towards the houses in Billericay Close, the vegetable plots as they're so called, covered in weeds as usual. Looking across the vegetable plots down towards Bell Hill Close to the houses in a long rise, etc. Oh, I wonder if she's thinking about going to the toilet. This is Marie, who kidded last year. Looks like she's going to climb the fence, see what's going on. And the one on the right is Polly, who was born last year to Rosie. There's Maggie. I'm still waiting for her to, well, I say still waiting for her to kid. She was due to kid today, but I think it'll probably be a couple of days before she kids, but she seems quite happy. Probably my favourite time of the year. All the different colours. Birth of the animals. Well, I suppose it's rebirth altogether after the winter time. This rather fluffy ewe in the foreground, I called her Bobby because she at one time belonged to an old friend of mine who died last year. So she hadn't got a name, so I thought, well, I'll call her Bobby. The lambs have grown well now. So we'll move them onto fresh pasture tomorrow because there's quite a lot of grass down there to be eaten off. When it gets dusk, these lambs all run around the field, play over the bales, up the bank and back again. They really enjoy it. It's always about that time of the day, strangely enough. Suffolk ewe. They will change colour eventually. They're the youngest ones we've got. This is a blackthorn bush. Most of the blooms or petals have dropped off now. There's still a lot of bushes around that have still got the petals on. And we always get a bit of a cold spell while this is in bloom, or some cold days, which I always say it's blackthorn winter. And it doesn't usually turn warm until all these flowers have dropped off. These are some of our buildings, many of which are fairly old. And some need some extensive repairs doing to them. The white one houses goats. The little green one's got a goat in it. And the brown one in the centre there has got a goat in it. One to the left of that has got chickens in. We could do with a new chicken shed, but I don't know whether or not that's going to be forthcoming. And this building here, which is known as the barn, is not really a barn. It's an old cow shed. Parts of it date back about 300 years, it's been estimated. Especially this end here. There are still all the original oak beams and oak posts in the roof. It is grade 2 listed. It's normally pretty cool, even in the summertime, except in the evenings when the heat tends to build up later in the day, but generally it's pretty cool. A few closer details on the old building itself. Oh, what a boarded gable. Pan tiles on this part of the roof, possibly original, but they are old tiles and they're rather difficult to get replacements when they get broken. The modern ones just don't fit. I would think this building will probably be converted into a dwelling, possibly. I think this is more likely what's on the cards. Well, this gives a bit of detail of some of the boards on the barn and the state of repair or disrepair they're in. Nothing's been done to it for years and years, although it's a listed building. It's going to be a great shame when this lot goes. A lot of people are very sad about it, including me. I shall miss it a lot, especially the animals. When it's all covered in bricks and concrete, perhaps some people will be, well, happy. And really, it all boils down to money. Man's greed for money.